really humbled and honored to be here to represent the University of North Texas. I think, this college football landscape is evolving so fast right now, and so to be able to stay ahead of the curve is something I think everybody's trying to do. Institutions are trying to do it right now, and luckily, we have a great leader at the helm, and our president, Dr. Keller, has been doing a fantastic job coming over, meeting personally with me, and trying to figure out this new era of college football, and how do we stay above the curve, and how do we continue to progress our university, and to be able to give the support to our student athletes that everybody is right now. And so, and then right after him is our athletic director, Jared Mosley, just a phenomenal human being, really smart individual that has helped me tremendously throughout this past year, and really trying to figure out this new landscape. And never, when I started coaching football 15 years ago, did I imagine being an expert on an Excel sheet. But we spent the last 4 or 5 months, me and my two GMs, and spending a ton of time and really trying to master the art of building a salary cap. Has been something that's been super interesting for me, and trying to figure out, how you do this. And we did a lot of research on NFL rosters and the percentages they played to certain players on their dim, and it was important for us to start with retention. I think at the group of 6 level right now, that's the thing that we're fighting the hardest right now is you still want to recruit these high school kids in the state of Texas. You want to develop them, and how do you retain those guys is the new question mark. And so, something that's really cool about the 2 guys that I brought with us today is that these are the only 2 guys remaining from our 21 signing class at North Texas, and I wasn't there yet. Both of them are linemen. Both of them, they bleed green, and so it's been awesome to watch their development. They've been special to me in the way that they bought in to our program. It's not always that case when, they were recruited by a different staff, had different coaches, and these 2 young men, Gabe Blair, he's a guy that's been all conference 2 years, guard for us, is coming off an ACL tear last year. He started 37 games in his college career. Just think about that for a little bit, and where, it's more important now, I think, when you're finding guys that have game experience, and here's a guy that not only is he coming off of ACL, didn't play for us last year, but last year also had his son, Luke, and so his son's almost 1 year old. He's a proud father, so it's been awesome for me to see Gabe mature. Not only have I always known he's a great football player, he's tough, he's great in the classroom, never had any problems with him, but to see him mature and for his why to change because he has a little son, Luke, to see him, come in and show me pictures of telling me on the plane, hey, Luke's taking 2 and 3 steps right now, and Coach, I think he's almost there. He's going to be able to walk soon. So just a really cool moment to have him here with us. Great player, great advocate for our university. The next one, Fatafehi Valea is a kid, and I call him June. I just had to look at my notes for the first time, so I made sure I pronounced that the right way. But June's a guy that started 26 games for us at the University of North Texas. And, we've gone from 3 down to 4 down. We played him at defensive end. We played him at nose guard. We played him at 3 technique. Same thing. Never had one complaint. He's tough as nails, works his tail off, is going to be a leader of a new look defense for us this year. Was one of our outstanding players in our bowl game, had 1.5 sacks in our bowl game, forced a fumble. And so really looking forward to those 2 guys. It's important to bring those 2 because this day and age in college football, you just don't get guys that stay their whole entire career at a school. It's something that's a dying breed. They've been committed the whole entire time to our program, and so excited to have those guys here with us. When we start talking about what's new at North Texas, I think the biggest thing would be our defensive side of the ball. It was something that I felt that was important when I started looking and interviewing different guys. Coach Kyler Cassidy kept popping up as being a top 20 defense in a lot of different categories. And one of the categories that I think is really important is the stop rate. And he was the 8th in the country this year, I think at a 74% stop rate. A young guy, but a guy that I had had some familiarity with. He was also a GA for us at Texas Tech. His dad was a defensive coordinator in college football for over 30 years. He grew up around the game. He lives it. He breathes it. And I thought it was also important that he was able to bring his whole entire staff from Sam Houston with him. So he was able to bring every one of his assistants with him over. Been super impressed in watching those guys install their defense. I think we get more summer access to these guys now. And so when you have such an influx of new players in the transfer portal, but at the same token, we were able to bring 6 of his starters over with us, guys, that started 11 plus games for him a year ago. They understand the defense, the terminology, and have been able to also be, almost coach-like for us on the practice field throughout the course of the summer. And so really excited about those guys. Offensively, I think the $1,000 question for us, and one I get asked every single time I do an interview, is who's going to be your starting quarterback? And, the one thing that I'm really excited about is this the deepest quarterback room that we've had, and it's not even close. So able to bring over Reese Poffenberger from the University of Miami, had a connection with him through Cam Ward, and a kid that, tore up the FCS level at Albany 2 years ago. He's played in big, meaningful games and some late playoff runs, so really excited about Reese. And then, I think one of the coolest stories of the bowl season was Drew Messamaker, a kid that walked on for us, didn't start a high school football game. The last time he had started a football game before the bowl game was a B team 9th grade year, and a kid that came in, worked his way up the depth chart, and has been incredible to watch his progression. I think the sky's the limit for this kid. Continues to progress. I mean, he's 6'5", 220 pounds, runs 21.5 miles per hour, and so really excited about the two of them. And then we signed a freshman that came in mid-year, Chris Jimerson. That's a lightning in a bottle, 5'9", 180 pounds. And I think anybody familiar with the state of Texas football, he led North Carolina to Texas High School State Championship at the 6A level, beating DeSoto, Duncanville, Westlake, all the powerhouses. So really excited about that room, the progression of it. Coach Sean Brophy's my quarterback coach, does a phenomenal job of helping us continue to develop these quarterbacks, has an eye for talent. Super excited about that. And then on the special team side of thing, we have Drew Sabota, who's been with us all 3 years, going on our 3rd year right now. Our special teams have been phenomenal for the first 2 years, and so continuing to lead into Drew on that side of the ball, and extremely excited to have him back and continue to progress on that front. A lot of battles that are going to go on through the course of camp. This is the deepest that we've been, and so I think it should be the most competitive camp. And something that was really important to us was to bring game reps into our program on the portal. So I did a little study a couple weeks ago, and I think when we started last year on our roster, we had like 325 starts, NCAA starts, and that didn't have to be at North Texas. That could have been anywhere they were coming from. Could have been a Division II prospect that we signed, could have been an FCS guy, could have been a guy that's coming, from another FBS program. So starting this year, we're going to have 488 starts under our belt, which was something that was important for me. I knew we needed to get older, more experience, and guys that had valuable game reps under their belt. And so really excited about trying to bring this whole thing together. Excited this time of year, obviously have a great schedule this year. The first time in a long time that North Texas has had 7 home games. So really excited about that opportunity, and excited to continue to play, this conference. I mean, there's not a week off when you do it. We play, 3 different option teams. We have Army, Navy, and Rice this year. UTSA coming to our place, which, Coach Traylor's done an awesome job there. USF's coming on a Friday night, which I don't love playing Friday nights in the state of Texas, but Coach Golis continues to rise the level of that program. Have Washington State coming in for a non-conference game to our home. So really excited about our schedule this year and getting things kicked off. So with all that said, I appreciate you guys, and on to the first question, I guess.
Yes, we have one on the right side, 3rd row.
Hey, Coach. Right side over here. Thomas Christopher from the League Winners. How you doing?
Fantastic. You doing all right?
I'm doing all right, thank you. You guys started off really hot last season, going 5-1. You ran into a little bit of the skid, finishing 1-6, including a close bowl game loss. What inconsistencies from last season are you looking to shore up in 2025 to prevent that skid from happening again?
Yeah, no doubt. I think offensively, number one is turnovers. You look back and had an explosive offense. If you look at numbers, which I'm not a huge numbers guy, I mean, there's a bunch of stuff that we're, in the top couple teams in the nation in offense. But that doesn't always turn into winning football games, right? And I turn in every one of those stats to come off on the top end of winning games. And so offensively, he's turning the ball over. And then our red zone offense. I mean, you look at the Army game stats this year at our place. Defense played phenomenal for us against Army. Our first 4 drives, we got inside the 10-yard line and ended up having 3 points off of that. I mean, those are just things you can't do, especially when your opportunities are going to be limited against a team like Army. So I think first and foremost, we got to eliminate turnovers on the offensive side of the ball. And I think it all starts with defending the run on the defensive side. And I think, that's something that's out there, and we know that we have to do a better job. It was important for me this year, I think, changing from a 3-man front to a 4-man front, try to add a little beef in there. And so I think that's going to be the biggest difference is the size that we have on the defensive line, the experience that we brought in. And for us right now on defense, we got to stop the run and earn the right to defend the pass.
Coach, next question will come over second row here on the left, and then we'll go back to the right.
Yeah, and I think, we really had some young guys come on late last year. And so I think having Miles Coleman, who started the last 3 or 4 games for us, back, who was a true freshman for us, and Landon Sides back healthy for us. And then, we were able to go recruit some guys that have had production at a lot of different levels. We got a junior college transfer, Shannon King, coming from Snow. That's probably the fastest guy on our team right now, be able to stretch the field. Getting Cam Dorner, who was All-American at Shepherd. Division II school, being able to get Trey Williams, who was All-American at Limestone last year. And so, and then the running back room, we were banged up all year last year. And so bringing back Mackenzie McGill, who's a kid who's earned a scholarship. He came in as a walk-on, has a whole year under his belt, had a great offseason. And then being able to add Jaden Becks as a kid that was a starter up at Central Missouri, extremely fast kid. And so, yeah, I think, the explosion will come in our skill positions, although some battles have to be, won during the course of spring ball. We signed Simeon Evans from Sam Houston State, who was their leading receiver last year, had over 800 yards and 9 touchdowns. And so I think we have plenty of talent right now. We just have to do a great job at figuring out the guys who will be running out there with the ones when we start, and then the guys that can rotate in and come in as a 1-2 punch.
Again, questions, please raise your hand. The next one will be coming back from the right, third row.
Hey, Coach. It's me again, Thomas Christopher from the League Winners. Jalen Smith is now in the Canadian Football League, and he really broke out for y'all last season. Is there anybody specific on the defense that you think can take that next step going forward, and especially, as you alluded to, in your previous answer, in stopping the run?
Yeah, no doubt. And I think the first thing is getting both of Sam Houston's starting corners in Armstead and Fisher, and guys that have just played a ton of reps and have continually be coached by the same coach and Coach Wilson right now. And I think, having 2 guys on the outside that you trust allows you to do some different things defensively. And so, I'm really excited about seeing those 2 guys play. Will Jones is a guy that's coming back home to Dallas that started at Old Dominion last year. Really excited about what he brings to the table, and an older vocal guy that's played a ton of meaningful football. And then, the most interesting one for me this year is Patrick Smith, a guy who actually started for us my first year here, decided to get in the portal, and did it the right way. Came and communicated with me, didn't think it was the right system for him, and decided to transfer out. And he went back in the portal this year, and he's coming back to us this year. And so really excited about him. And so those will be the guys. And I think our defensive ends, are going to play a lot different techniques, and it's a lot different style of football. So Bryson Haynes is a defensive end. I'm really excited to see Ethan Day is a kid that transferred in against that from Wyoming. We actually played against him, and he had an incredible game against us last year. And so with the New Lake defense, I'm excited about some of those battles. We had a true freshman walk-on that played receiver for us last year, Quentin Hammonds, that ended up starting the last 7 games on defense for us at safety, who played remarkable. We moved him now to nickel and is our starting nickel right now, so excited to see him transition to a new position.
Any final questions for Coach? Raise your hand. Coach, thanks very much. Good luck.
Thank you, guys.
We'll have